Hello everyone, my name is Adam Livingston and I am your number one source for Bitcoin and Bitcoin Treasury Company analysis. Trump strides onto the stage like a billionaire ringmaster who just discovered there's a second circus in town and bought every elephant with petty cash. He smiles that "I told you so" grin, signs a $2.5 billion private placement, and suddenly the company everyone's aunts thought was just a meme stock owns 22,000 Bitcoin, enough digital gold to give Satoshi performance anxiety. Meanwhile, Fortune 500 CFOs are still Googling "explain blockchain like I'm 5. DJT has vacuum sealed nearly 50 days of post-halving miner issuance and catapulted itself past Tesla into a top 10 corporate holder slot in one glorious zero-coupon swoop. Every Satoshi Big Don stacks ignites the share price, which lowers the cost of capital, which funds another convert, which buys more Bitcoin, which torches shorts, which repeat until the block subsidy hits zero or the universe heat deaths, whichever comes first. It's a self-licking ice cream cone of monetary chaos powered by celebrity attention economics, and that irresistible reflexivity loop that Wall Street can't price, but retail can meme. Regulators picture hall monitors telling the star quarterback to slow down in the hallway. They'll get a wink and a signature on the football. Competitors, they're sipping decaf and ESG webinars, praying their auditors never ask why cash yields less than a savings bond souvenir. Meanwhile, DJT is strapping a Bitcoin turbocharger onto a social media muscle car, flooring the gas, and leaving every regulatory clown in a cloud of exhaust. So buckle up, dear shareholder. You didn't just buy a stock, you bought a leveraged call option on the hardest money in the known universe, attached to a media flamethrower that runs on outrage, memes, and a very stable genius's talent for turning controversy into cash flow. The ride ends when there are no more coins to buy, no more bears to roast, and no more doubters left to tweet. Until then, enjoy the show. Imagine you are an alchemist in 1692 who's just figured out how to turn royal IOUs into gold. And the king signed the paperwork while distracted by a turkey leg. That's DJT's financing. First, they cram $1.5 billion of fresh equity down Wall Street's gullet at about $23 a pop, instantly minting roughly 79 million new shares and leaving Reddit to argue whether the ticket now stands for "doing just tremendous." Then, because gravity clearly no longer applies, they float a $1 billion zero-coupon convertible note, maturing in May 2028 with a 35% conversion premium. Holders paid real dollars today for the privilege of maybe, someday, swapping into stock at $4.72 while earning exactly zero in interest. It's like lending your Tesla to Elon, paying for the supercharger yourself, and thanking him for the opportunity. Strip out the placement fees and original issue discount, and DJT walks away with about $2.3 billion in spendable cash, taking pro forma liquidity to a gladiator-worthy $3.06 billion. The fully diluted share count balloons to roughly 318 million, but who cares? Each Satoshi they buy cranks the share price so far north, the dilution practically pays for itself. Meanwhile, the converts the investors just bought, a 5-year call option on the hardest assets in human history, underwritten by meme fuel and political theater. By the time the note comes due, Bitcoin could be 6 figures higher, the stock could be parabolic, and those bondholders will look like monks who took a vow of poverty in exchange for front row seats to the gold rush. Bottom line, DJT just secured billions at a negative real cost, stuffed it into a Bitcoin launch tube, and dared the market to stop them. Good luck, market. Sharpen your pencils and hide your fiat, because this is where the arithmetic starts eating liberals for breakfast. DJT walks onto the exchange floor with a $2.3 billion bazooka and 3 ways to pull the trigger. Base case, fire immediately at 104,000 per coin, and bag 22,100 BTC, roughly 49 full days of post-halving miner output, vaporizing 0.105% of the total 21 million supply before most CFOs have finished their first ever Michael Saylor video. Could be an opportunistic dip hunter, wait for the market to sneeze to 95,000, snag 24,200 BTC, and make Twitter conspiracy bros short circuit trying to explain how supply shocks work. Then comes the real circus act, Leverage Loop 2.0. Repeat the zero coupon convert hustle in 2026, say at 135K, stack another 28,000 coins. And DJT is suddenly rocking a 49,000 Bitcoin war chest. 0.233% of all Bitcoin in existence, or about 110 days of global issuance jammed onto one balance sheet. At that point, you're not hedging inflation, you're reenacting the Spanish crown shipping silver galleons, only faster, funnier, and immune to hurricanes. Every Bitcoin removed from the free float ratchets scarcity, hikes reflexive FOMO in the equity, and turns Donny Boy's stock chart into a piece of modern art, abstract, beautiful, and completely incomprehensible to anyone still benchmarking against the 10-year treasury. Picture DJT's empire as a Vegas casino where every table, slot machine, and cocktail tray secretly funnels chips back into one vault labeled "Buy More Bitcoin." First up is TruthFi's 7525 Bitcoin Ethereum ETF. Wall Street thinks it's getting a vanilla index fund, but the seed capital is pure Satoshi, and the management fee is payable in the same hard money it's hoarding. Investors drop in fiat, DJT skims yield in Bitcoin, and the cycle spins like a rigged roulette wheel, where the house edge is measured in block rewards. Next, cue the USD stablecoins, a digital dollar that politely pretends to be cash while its float earns real interest. Traditional banks park deposits in treasuries. DJT converts the carry into Bitcoin the moment it clears, turning every grocery store swipe and OnlyFans tip into incremental stack growth. Stablecoin users get fast payments. DJT gets a perpetual cashback program denominated in cyberspace gold. Finally, roll out Truth Plus streaming and Trump mobile bundles. Pay $8.99 a month for unfiltered memes, exclusive rallies, and a cell plan that routes your grandma's FaceTime through MAGA satellites. And behind the scenes, that subscription margin is marching straight into OTC desks to snag more coin. It's Netflix meets Verizon meets Libertarian Endowment Fund, except the endowment only buys one asset forever. Tie it together and you've built the BTC capture stack. Media eyeballs feed fintech rails, rails mint free cash flow, and every dollar of that cash flow exits stage left as free Bitcoin. DJT isn't just running a company, it's running a black hole collider for fiat, sucking in dollars and spitting out scarcity until the free float is a memory, and the auditor's note simply reads, "All roads lead to the treasury address. Good luck prying it open." Look around the corporate landscape and you'll see a bunch of gray-haired CFOs gripping Excel the way medieval monks clutched rosaries. Except the cathedral's burning and they just noticed the sprinkler system is spelled Bitcoin. Right now, 61 public companies control about 674,000 Bitcoin, 3.2% of the whole cosmic pie. That's the timid kids at the edge of the pool phase. Then FASB changed the water temperature. Fair value accounting kicked in January, and suddenly unrealized gains pump EPS harder than Ron Jeremy in his prime. Layer on Trump's strategic Bitcoin reserve order, which turned boardroom hesitation into career suicide, and voila, the S-curve stops being a gentle incline and turns into the side of El Capitan. Model it out at a whopping 7% quarter-over-quarter clip and half today's blistering rate, and by 2028, you're staring at 1.3 million corporate coins, 6% of the terminal supply. That's the moments the board reads like bad horror fiction. Chapter 1, you waited. Chapter 2, MicroStrategy owns Mars. Each new adopter slurps up issuance, tightens float, and spikes price, which scares the next 5 finance committees into action faster than you can say fiscal negligence. It's a recursive panic loop where doing nothing becomes the reckless move. Buckle your seatbelts, we've left the early adopter ramp and hit the vert ramp. So any CFO still debating cap table optics is about to find themselves flattened on the tarmac, wishing they'd bought the ticket to Satoshi lands back when there were still seats in coach. Remember miners dribbling out 450 coins a day like a rationed champagne at a prohibition speakeasy? Well, 2025 year-to-date's corporate hoarders have already guzzled 80,000 BTC, and a US spot ETFs have inhaled another 190,000. That's 270,000 coins sucked off the market, 1.6 times this year's entire minting rate, before the ball has even dropped on Q3. Picture Satoshi as Willy Wonka himself tossing out golden tickets. Wall Street just chartered a fleet of helicopters to scoop them up mid-air while retail stands in line licking melted chocolate off the sidewalk. Drop Daddy Trump's 22,000 coin haymaker into that blender and the free float starts looking like Greenland's ice sheet in July, melting visibly live on satellite. Each DJT-sized raise is 49 days worth of issuance, gone in a single wire transfer, the monetary equivalent of pressing skip intro on an entire epoch of supply and demand textbooks. Price elasticity, imagine a beach ball you keep pushing underwater. The harder these flows shove, the faster it rockets out of the pool and smacks CNBC in the face at 150K, 185K. Pick a number, Jim Cramer's hair is already on fire. Every incremental sat stacked by treasuries and ETFs doesn't just lift the price, it raises the hurdle rates for latecomers. Boards that hesitated at 6 figures will soon be pitching their shareholders on 9. Meanwhile, miners are stuck on an algorithmic drip feed, coughing up coins slower than a sloth with asthma. Scarcity isn't coming, folks. It's here, hog-tied, gagged, and thrown in DJT's trunk before auditors even filed Q2's footnotes. If strategy is the Bitcoin Death Star, DJT is the Millennium Falcon, smaller payload today, but hyperspace written into the chassis, and a pilot who thinks parsecs are for losers. Strategy sits atop 592,000 BTC, a sovereign reserve disguised as a ticker symbol, spraying out hella sats per share like it's making artisanal cryptographic cappuccinos. DJT a mere 22,000 coins. But every Bitcoin is lever-armed by meme velocity, celebrity arbitrage, and convertible notes that cost less than a free hotel mint. Cost of capital, strategy raised 0% and called it financial engineering. DJT looked at the blueprint, stapled a reality TV media empire to it, and issued its own zeros with a 35% premium. That means the moment the stock even flirts with the conversion price, bondholders are begging to dilute themselves so DJT can buy more coin. It's the only pyramid scheme where the base gets richer the higher you stack with blocks. So yes, strategy owns the mountain range, but DJT owns the rocket fuel. One plays 4D chess with treasury regulations. The other carries a flamethrower that turns boardroom skepticism into molten FOMO. Give it 2 convert cycles and a bull market, and the Falcon's cargo hold starts looking suspiciously like another Death Star. Only this one tweets memes while it inhales the galaxy's hardest money. Here's a fun possibility. Picture Donald Trump renting out his coins at 5 or 6%. Every year, the Treasury spits out 3,000 extra Satoshis like a hen laying big fat orange eggs. It's passive income, so hard money purists need smelling salts. And it snowballs the stack without tapping equity markets or scaring auditors. Fast forward to New Year's Eve 2028. And the high case tally is 50 to 80,000 coins, somewhere between respectable sovereign reserve and oops, we accidentally cornered the free float. At that point, DJT isn't a media company playing treasury roulette, it's a privately run central bank with a reality TV marketing arm. And every incremental Bitcoin it sucks in raises the entry fee for the rest of corporate America. Grab popcorn, someone's about to back the truck up. Let's hit pause on the champagne fountain and acknowledge the booby traps. First, revenue. DJT's entire 2024 top line was a humble $3.6 million, about what Starbucks skims from pumpkin spice lattes between 6 a.m. and lunch. That means a single quarterly fair value markdown could send GAAP earnings into witness protection. Better pray the meme machine scales faster than a little turtle boy. Second, the float. Less than 40% of the shares trade freely, which makes the stock behave like a toddler hopped up on a Red Bull. Adorable when it's mooning, nuclear when it decides gravity is back in fashion. One badly timed sell-off and those zero coupon converts could trigger margin calls that make Repo 2019 look like amateur hour. Third, politics. Today, the Oval Office is humming Yankee Doodle in 4/4 time with a Bitcoin remix. Swap administrations and you might get regulators who treat crypto like a vape pen on an airplane. Technically legal yesterday, federal offense today. Please exit the cabin in handcuffs. A single Senate hearing could freeze App Store access faster than you can say systemic risk. Fourth, macro beta. Bitcoin still drops 50% just to stretch its legs. If we wake up to a 6 Sigma liquidity crunch, that shiny 1x loan-to-value covenant on the secured note starts sweating like a televangelist on tax day. Collateral calls pile up, the auditor's footnotes turn Shakespearean, and suddenly every diamond hand discovers what paper feels like at 2 a.m. Bottom line, DJT is driving a Formula One car on an ice rink. When it works, you're a physics-defying legend. When it doesn't, the highlight reel ends with a mushroom cloud of broken spreadsheets. Keep your helmet on, your wrist control's tighter than a Swiss vault. And remember, in Bitcoin land, euphoria and existential dread are always just one block apart. Here's your TLDR, served with a side of cosmic humiliation for everyone still benchmarking to T-bills. Trump just turned meme equity into a Bitcoin black hole engine. Every dollar of celebrity charge market cap is jet fuel for 0% converts. Every convert is a sluice gate into the hardest asset known. Every Satoshi sucked off the float hikes the stock, drops the funding costs, and repeats the loop until the free market needs a defibrillator. Corporate America now faces a binary choice. Strap in, lever up, and chase DJT up the scarcity waterfall. Or 2, write a shareholder letter explaining why you missed a once-in-a-civilization treasury arbitrage because you were worried about quarterly optics. Spoiler, auditors will still laugh at you in old-fashioned fiat. If DJT executes the roadmap, repeat converts, stablecoin float, streaming cash flow hot-wired into OTC desks, it finishes the decade holding 50 to 80,000 coins or more and graduates from media company to shadow central bank with a reality TV broadcast license. At that scale, every incremental Bitcoin becomes a geopolitical statement. We eat issuance for breakfast. What's your counteroffer? So buckle up, bulls and bears alike. The ride ends when the block subsidy is 0. The float is dust, or every CFO finally admits that diluting for Bitcoin was never reckless. It was the last sane move left on the board. Until then, place your bets, mind the gap, and remember that in post-fiat Olympics, hesitation isn't bronze, it's bankruptcy. My name is Adam Livingston. Remember, this is not financial advice. This is financial entertainment. Leave a comment with what you'd like me to comment on next. Class dismissed.